Yeah. Turn it up. Yeah. 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 Look, it's not me apologizing, so call it monetizing. On my floors, not to show off, just letting you know I got them. Sometimes I sit down inside them, like a crib of pros I never get called on. Silver silence, wondering if I'm worth more than rhyming.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Maroon Radio. I'm here with a very special guest. This is a friend I made through another friend, but a happy acquaintance I made that night. I'm here with professional wrestler Dante Griffith.
How you doing, man? Yo, pleasure to be back. Pleasure to be hanging out with you. Pleasure to be talking about wrestling, music, movies, whatever we want to talk about today.
Sure,
and yes, acquaintance through pure
Shout
luck.
out Steven. Shout out Steven. Wherever you are, man, thank you for making this happen. We met on a line for a concert, right?
Yeah. Basically, if you want, I'll do a quick little rundown. There was a secret show, got announced like day of or day before for Kevin Abstract. He was releasing a new album, Blanket. I hit up Steven because I couldn't be there. I was like, hey, if you hold down the spot, I got the tickets. He's like, bet. We get there. They mess everything up with security. So they were all over the place. All of a sudden, they're trying to kick us to the back of the line. We're like, damn. Start walking. He sees you. He knows you. He's like, yo, what's up, bro? Yo, is it cool if we stay here? You're like, yeah, for sure. And then we were the last people in that concert that night. We were so lucky, and I've owed you for like 2 years now. So.
Yo, this is really in the making because that album came out. We were talking about it off camera. That album came out 2023. Here we are, 2025. 2 years later, and this man keeps his promises. This is an honorable man, y'all.
I had to. First interview in my wrestling career, and I knew it had to be you, man, because I really owed you for that.
Thank you, bro. Every time he looks at his T-shirt, his merch T-shirt, he's like, damn, I need to get it up with Safari.
Yeah.
All right.
100%.
To start off simply, where'd you grow up? Tell the people a little bit about your background, how you got your start in wrestling, maybe your early inspirations, and just the things that make you you.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up in New Jersey, so I've always kind of been East Coast, only recently started going out West Coast. Right. I have two older brothers, so growing up, I was watching wrestling immediately, and my dad was a bit of a fan too. He was a little like old head fan, right. But me and my brothers obviously like we were watching the new stuff at the time, the John Cena, Rey Mysterio, like Jeff Hardy era.
So like ruthless aggression?
Yeah, a little ruthless aggression into, it bled a little more into the PG for me just because I was younger. But that was the start of the love, and it kind of never went away from there. Then I'm a little like, I like to be a little aware of who I am, what I look like, what I present. So I knew when I was younger, I was like, I'm a really like scrawny white guy. Like, I don't know if wrestling's gonna be the path for me. For sure. So I also had a love of like film and theater and music. Okay. So I ended up going to school for that. Right out of that, I got a job working for a cruise line, and that was really fun. That was like about a year. But then this itch always like kind of came over me while I was working. I was like, I'm having a lot of fun here, great experiences, great people, but that wrestling, man, something about it, I gotta try it. If I don't try it, I'm gonna die and be like, I really wish I tried it. So then finally, yeah. And then finally, I was doing my research on where I wanted to wrestle, or at least learn to train. Decided on House of Glory. Mm-hmm. About a week before the tryouts were, pandemic. So then I went home for a year, kind of took care of my mom, but every day I was like running on the treadmill, doing push-ups, just trying to get myself mentally ready. And then luckily, the WrestleMania, I believe it was 37. Sasha Banks and Bianca were main eventing night one of WrestleMania. That was the day they reopened up after the pandemic. They had open house tryout. There's about 100-something heads in there, man. I don't know if you ever played Def Jam.
Like the intro.
The intro to Def Jam. That's what it looked like in
Fight
that
Club
day.
Type
It was absolutely crazy. And then ever since then, it's about to be almost 4 years. 4 years of training and about two and a half years of wrestling in front of crowds.
Dang, so more than half the time you've been training, you've been in front of a crowd.
Yeah, I guess now. Yeah, I sound old, but yeah.
Man, that definitely speaks to your dedication and willpower. Hearing that you came from like those humble beginnings and just having that dream and just saying like, you know what, I'm gonna will myself into this career field. It was never like a deviation for you. It was never like, what, I'll go be a math teacher. I'll go. Anyone was ever in your ear saying, yo, you can't do it. Or
and that's always been a thing for me, and I don't know. I guess I'm just lucky to have something in my DNA that has that, because I've never for a second like doubted certain career paths. I remember I did have an acquaintance in high school who when I was like focused on the theater stuff and the movie stuff at the time, where she was like, well, what's your plan B? And I was like, what you talking about? like this is it. Like I'm gonna keep working on this, and then I feel talented enough. I feel like I have the job. I'm gonna work harder than anybody else to get this. And it's kind of I've kept that speed wherever I'm at, you know. So whether when I was doing my auditions or learning my lines, I would always come in the next day ready to go, no matter what, right off the bat. And now with wrestling, because I knew that was kind of like the true passion,
right? And
I feel like that's been the right path ever since I started training. I really, I've never felt more comfortable in front of a crowd than when I wrestle.
For sure.
So that's kind of one of the things that I knew.
So, quick to stop you.
No,
so, if you were a theater kid growing up, what productions, let's let the people know the real you for a second, before the exile and all the cool stuff.
Yeah, right.
So, like, what productions were you starring in? And maybe, like, what was your favorite, like, plays or just movies, period, that you were actually into, even though you knew wrestling was the angle?
Yeah, for sure. And those all correlate now, too. I really, I draw a lot of inspiration, obviously, from wrestling. But for the most part, you look outside. So all these movies, all these plays or musicals that I was into, they end up like creeping back into the wrestling process, whether it's moments in a match or character stuff. But yeah, so I was very fortunate where as soon as I went to college, I did get a performing job right out of it, and then the pandemic happened right when I came back from that, which is when I was going to start the training with wrestling. So I didn't have any equity or any kind of productions like that under my belt after college. But in high school, I was doing, oh man, there were so many because we also had summer shows. So there was like, Drowsy Chaperone was my favorite. I played a character called Man in Chair, which it sounds like, oh really? But he's on stage for the 2 hours. This man had the most lines of anything I've ever seen before, man. But like I said, that next day I came in, I was like, ready to go. I actually, if you know Paper Mill Playhouse, they're basically like the Broadway introduction or tryout for like certain musicals and stuff. So like, for instance, I think right now Great Gatsby's on Broadway. It premiered at Paper Mill, and then they like give it a little test run, see if they want to pick it up for a Broadway theater. So they do these awards every year for high school productions. My last year we did My Fair Lady. So very old school, and I was Henry Higgins, who's like the inspiration for Stewie Griffin. So it's very Stewie Griffin based performance.
Is he like the star? Like the
yeah. And
so you always resonated with characters that had that star power and kind of like that.
Yeah, and also
never shied away from the spotlight.
Yeah, and luckily, you know, I was given the opportunities to really like put myself forward and get comfortable in front of crowds. You know, I'm the youngest of three. So I was always kind of like, you know, the crazy one. I was always like running in front of people. Like my brother would be doing his football practice. And like when I was too young to play football at that time, I would still run on the field and like try to tackle somebody. Like I was definitely a little crazy. So, and that obviously bleeds over into now.
Yeah, so like, because you were talking a little bit about drawing from inspirations to develop your kayfabe. That's how you pronounce the word?
Yeah.
No, educate me. No,
that's how you pronounce it. That's how you pronounce it.
Bro. Like, if I'm getting it wrong, please stop me.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, that's into the character stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Is that like an outdated term, kayfabe?
No. It's in date. It's just, you use it more for like, you know, when you're trying to like hide your stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little more like, oh, okay, this is more in the down low. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. So like when you were developing your character, your in-ring character, what would you say you could draw from without giving too much to the people?
No, for sure. I think the hardest part for me is that I do really love the technical wrestling and then like the strike-based wrestling. So sometimes I get a little overzealous with the theatrics. I mean, the choreography of like certain things. So where I would be focusing, this is very early on, I would be focusing on like what we're gonna do rather than why it like would matter. So, you know, you watch like The Raid or other action movies like John Wick, and you know, you put them on and there's these really fantastic action scenes where everything is so on the money, but then if an action scene ended and then I ask you like, okay, so like what happened? You'd be like, I don't know, but I know that guy killed his dog and then he did this really, and then and then like you'd be like, oh, he did this really cool thing where he killed this guy with a book like this, and like that'll be the thing that sticks in your mind. So I try to draw from like the moments of things. So like, for instance, sometimes we'll be talking, right, and I'll be like, okay, well we could do this into this, but then what is that going to mean? Like, what's the exclamation point that people are going to look at, and that's what stays in their brain. So you catch them with the action there, all of a sudden, boom, you get this moment, and then they leave thinking about that moment.
No, bro. And going back to your, you mentioned earlier maybe being like a little bit of ensure of your future in the business because of your physique. I watched some of your matches, bro, and you use like your body size well. You know what I'm saying? To, like,
yeah, it's very
still
important.
Be theatric and
Yeah, and I used to be skin and bones, man. So it's been it's been a process, and I think that's another thing that's very important. You have to really be in touch with yourself and comfortable with yourself. Right. So I think this wrestling journey really taught me how to like settle into my skin, be comfortable with like who I am, what I do, what I present. So the progress I've made, because like I said, when I started, I was really, really skinny, very pale, which, you know, sometimes gets better depending on how the sun is. But you know, obviously there's a lot more work to be done,
right.
But I'm proud of how far I've come, and I can look at myself now and acknowledge like, okay, like good work has been made here. Like obviously gonna keep going, gonna keep grinding, but I think it's okay to sometimes like smell the roses a little bit and be like, okay, sure. Good stuff.
Nah, and to that point of you saying like you're settling into your skin, you know, smelling the roses and taking things as they come, I definitely see that in your energy today, bro. But I still don't know how you be taking all those blows and taking all those falls,
Me
all
neither.
Those drops, and all those collisions.
That's very
and,
important.
We
yeah.
talked a little bit about this off camera. Like it's a very physically demanding and taxing job and business. So could you speak maybe to the conditioning you have to undergo or that you've undergone?
Yeah.
Maybe one of your hardest moments in conditioning, in the training, in the gym.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Before we even get to like maybe your hardest match that you maybe have to put on, but yeah, just get to the behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know that when I started, nothing prepares you for the training. You could do whatever you want before you wrestle. As soon as you pull up and you wrestle, it's a whole different ballgame.
What's your diet?
My diet. I'm always figuring that out too.
Okay.
That's been one of the hardest things for me, is just figuring out what to eat, because I'm also like, I was a very picky eater before.
Okay.
So it was really, really tough for me to like really figure it out. So I've been doing like a lot more like protein shakes, a lot of just like straight chicken stuff, pasta. I'm trying to bulk, so you know it's a lot more like calorie based things. But I just lost my track. Where was I going?
Speaking about the demandingness of the business.
Yes. So when the open house tryout, the very first one, was about a 90-minute to like 2-hour workout.
Straight?
No wrestling, no getting in the ring, right? So what actually happened was, when we started, we went 45 minutes, and it was straight like, you would do, we call it the Japanese workout at House of Glory. You would do like, let's say push-ups for, it's about 45 seconds to a minute, and then they go burpees. Then you do your burpees for about 45 seconds.
As many as you can do.
And then push-ups, and then you go back and forth for about 4 sets, burpees in between always, and then you switch it up, like jumping jack squats, burpees, and it's that for 45 minutes. So always burpees in between, no rest. And I remember that ended, and I was like, whew, okay. And then our trainer, Amazing Red, he said something like, okay, this is a little taste. Yeah, absolutely. He was like, this is a little taste of what we do. Now you guys actually did really good. So normally we do a second workout, but you guys did really good. So if you want to call it today, we can call it today. But what do you guys think? How do you feel? And he said, should we do second workout? Almost everyone raised their hand. And he looked around and said, if you didn't raise your hand, sit with that. Second workout, let's go.
Dang.
So yeah,
he pulled everyone card. Like,
and I'm glad he did, because when I went to the New Japan Dojo in LA, I knew going in it was going to be very heavy on the workouts. That's always what you hear about Japan. You always hear about these like 1,000 squats and all these like workout things they do, these Hindu push-ups and all this. And the very first day I pulled up, we did. They start off a little bit lighter, luckily. They were like 200 squats and I think 50 Hindu push-ups, and all this other workout stuff was thrown in there. But by the end, we were busting out the 500 squats, doing the 100 line push-ups. Do you know what cards is? That was the worst one.
Break that down to me.
Cards
fat people shit. No.
This is crazy for anybody.
Yeah, okay.
It's a deck of cards, right? And whatever you flip, right? Say if it's a 4 and it's red, it would be like 4, say the Hindu push-ups.
Oh, so it's like Russian roulette for...
Essentially, but you go through the whole deck. So you do all the squats, all the Hindu push-ups, whatever, and if you draw, I believe, a joker, it's 50. So yeah, and then what I was told, so we did all that, right? We were dying after. Yeah. And then they told us that in the original dojo, it would be double. So if you pull a 10, it's 20. And then you just keep going down the whole deck of cards. So if you just think about that, that's like a 45-minute workout right there. 45 minutes to an hour of just full body and nothing but squats and push-ups.
Dang.
So it's very intense. It's very intense. And then no, go ahead.
No, it makes sense considering how long the matches last and just especially with matches back to back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you don't realize it until you're in the moment where, and especially watching a lot of like my favorite wrestlers now, like Kurt Angle anyone from back then, Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, currently, their cardio is on a whole different level because they have these insane I think about it all the time. Even a guy, his name's Okada, he does this drop kick where he jumps like 7.5, 8 feet in the air, kicks you right in your face. He does that like 55 minutes into a match. So imagine just like fully sprinting, and then you gotta jump as high as you possibly can
after 55 prior minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing whatever else.
It's absolutely just crucial that you're always in the ring, wrestling people, running the ropes, doing everything you possibly can to be ready. Because also, I don't know if you've ever felt this, how much, if you've ever like really performed in front of like a crowd for a long amount of time.
Okay.
But your breathing completely changes, and again, all the training in the world. But as soon as you're in front of a crowd, that like stress or anxiety or whatever you want to call
excitement.
it, yeah, like it's a good feeling. But also you realize you're like, these lights are a lot brighter than I thought, and you're like, ooh, okay.
You're concerned about just doing good. You just want to do a good job.
And you know you're locked in, so you're just thinking like, all right, let me just breathe a little bit. Let me just check in with myself. Okay, we're good. And then you start wrestling. You're like, thank God I trained, because like, if I didn't train, I'd be blown up and outside, like just breathing and not being able to do what I do best.
Yeah, for sure. That's one side of the athleticism that you display on screen, right? Mm-hmm. But then the other side is also, the bumps and bruises, you know what I'm saying? Having to take those hits and, just get off, brush your shoulder off, literally. And it's like, how do you handle that? You know what I'm saying? Have you sustained any, like, injuries? Or maybe put the hurt on somebody, like whooping on one of y'all.
I've been very fortunate to, one, never be injured myself, but two, never have injured anybody. Okay. Which I kind of pride myself on. Like,
I heard that's a big part. Yeah.
Big part, because if you, the worst thing to happen, man, is if you show up, you're like, hey, you're wrestling so and so, and you're like, shit, it's gonna be a long day at the office. But I'll never forget like the first bump, which was always the thing, like, especially starting wrestling. It's like, you could show up and you can be in great shape, maybe the cardio is there, everything's good, but if you can't take the damage, it's over, like, because what we do is very dangerous, it's taxing on the body. If you can't handle that pain, you're not really gonna be able to last long. Longevity is so important here. And I'll never forget the very first time, they're called bumps, we fall back and just hit the mat as hard as you can. I was just constantly checking in, and they're like, all right, stand in the middle, you kind of squat a little bit, arms here, hit the mat like as hard as you can and slap out. I was like, all right, now I'm gonna see if I could be a wrestler. So
compared to like your childhood when you were just watching it from the other side.
My brothers were beating me up,
and I was like your early practice.
Yeah, for real.
Right. When you was just getting a chance to just watch it and like go wow at everything you're seeing, and now kind of getting the science behind what you're seeing, maybe how has doing it professionally changed how you look at the business now? Like, has it shattered your
It has changed
fantasy?
everything. Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
I think about it a lot. Where before, I don't know how I used to watch wrestling, and I don't mean that like, oh, how did I watch this? I mean, like, I literally don't know how I consumed the media. Where now all I do is look at footwork, or I look at how somebody lands or hits the ropes. Like, I'm looking at all this technique now, where I try to peel it back sometimes to like get the fan perspective, which is why it's also good to like surround myself with people who aren't into wrestling or wrestling fans per se. Yeah, see what they think of the stories or what's being done in the ring, because sometimes they'll get confused by something, but to me it makes perfect sense. So it's good to like peel the layers back. But everything has completely changed, and I also like appreciate some more wrestlers now. Like, I always knew Christian was great, Edge's tag partner.
Yeah, I remember Christian.
I was like, yeah, like he's really great, like, and like I really enjoy his matches. But now, like, being a little more in the fold and understanding things, and I say understanding loosely because this art form is very hard to break down. He's like one of the best, and like I don't think he ever will really get the credit he fully deserves from like certain fans, just because it's hard to describe why he's so good without doing this. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's like you're just nerding out when everyone's just watching.
Yeah, it's like when people talk about their top fives and they mention like Rakim.
And
you're like, but you don't get it. Like, it's Rakim. He's gotta be up there.
Another thing I would want to speak about, because you know what I'm saying, you could take the visual lesson and just watching wrestling, like you said, but you get a chance to really meet these guys, bump shoulders with them.
Yeah,
people who are
a lot of people have been so
for
fortunate.
Decades. Yeah. So could you speak to maybe some of the game you got from certain people, specifically maybe your coaching staff in House of Glory and
I got really fortunate in having a lot of great people teach me. Amazing Red obviously was like the first main trainer. We call him our sensei. He's cool. Just his mind for this business and how he views wrestling it always like every time I think I'm like, okay, I think I kind of get it. I talk to him and I'm like, I don't get it. Like he really has such a yeah, exactly, man. He has such a creative mind for this. So I love talking to him about different ideas, and a lot of people think I'm just talking about moves, but nah, he really understands moments and storylines and where things should go. And then I've also had like Montekia has helped me a lot in House of Glory. There was a whole month where he was basically like the head trainer for a little bit, just because Red, I believe, injured himself, and that month really transformed me as a wrestler, because we were just in there for like maybe 4, 5, 6 hours doing nothing but just getting good.
How many times a week do you say that you go to the gym?
Gym or wrestling?
Both.
Oh, I try my best. Obviously, it's rough, but especially when I was in the dojo, which I'll talk about in a second, because those trainings were fantastic. Like I try my best to do 6, which is rough. It is rough on the body, and like sometimes you do have to listen to your body, because if you keep on working past something that's discomforting or an injury, sometimes it puts you back a bit, and instead of making progress at the gym, you're actually like taking away. Yeah, so you have to be on top of yourself, but also listen to yourself, which is difficult because as a wrestler, you know, you want to push through, and like anything that hurts, you're like, nah, we're good. But you know,
it's part of it.
Yeah. So that is the vibe. That is what we try to do. I try to be in the ring at least 4 times a week. So when I was in the dojo, I was lucky enough to be there as much as possible. Who also the trainers there, Fred Rosser, DKC, Kushida. I also find it very interesting because Fred was very different than Red as a trainer, where Red, obviously he was molding us because we were new. Right. So he was teaching us all the grinding out the basics, making sure we were safe and fundamental and knew our positioning. And then once he sees the mold, like he'll craft you a little more. But Fred was a little more hands off. So whatever you present to him, he'll watch and be like, okay, good. And then maybe provide his little, what if you do this? And all of a sudden, like, it makes it so much better. Kushida was very technique based. He was actually trained under Tajiri. So if you guys remember Tajiri, absolutely insane wrestler, just fantastic. Also perfect at combining his character with his like move set and how he just is. That was very helpful. And DK was also very technique based, where my style now is very striker, technical wrestler. And DKC was again another one kind of like Christian, where I can't tell you how good he is unless you like wrestle him. Where I'm like, I remember wrestling him, and it was like, and I was just like, wow, this dude is phenomenal. Just the way he was moving and doing these certain holds like so seamlessly, I was like, hey man. And then obviously, you know, I try to take any of that, combine it, maybe do my own little tweaks to it. Yeah.
So you're a student in the game through and through, it sounds like, man.
I try to be, man.
So because you got real technical there for a second, so are there any like fighting styles or like martial arts styles that you maybe like studied, as well as, you know, also watching the footwork of wrestlers? Or is it like I
just try to keep my mind open for everything, because the lucky thing about wrestling is it's everything. Right. So whether I see something, like I said, like in an action movie and go, okay, cool, I could do that in the ring. Or if you just, you know, one day you're just scrolling or you're watching like a UFC fight, and then someone does some sick counter or a certain hold, and you'd be like, okay, well, how can I do that into this?
Take that.
So you just have to, And also, again, theater background, there's dance clips that come out and I see something, I'm like, pile driver right there. Like, that would be so cool. Or there's so much stuff to pull from. And
dance break into a pile driver.
I'm telling you, it happens. You just gotta keep your mind open as much. Or even mosh pits, dude. Some people in these mosh pits be doing
low-key, you know, you will be a terror in the mosh pit, man. I'll be like, nah, man.
It's been a while. I might be old and beat up. I've seen those Rolling Loud Cardi mosh pits, and I'm like, I don't know.
Nah, that might trigger your reflexes. I don't know, man. They might not be ready for you. But speaking of being like a student in the game, you know, constantly watching, I'm assuming you're still a fan of just WWE at large.
Yeah, I try to watch as much as possible. WWE, AEW, New Japan, DDT, just Stardom, anything I can get my hands on. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna get too into the weeds of that. But I do want to know your opinion, if you can give one, on just, I want to say, the biggest disappointment or surprise in, I guess, modern wrestling history with, the John Cena. you know how it's going. It's like this is like killing kids' dreams, but like making grown adults' dreams.
Listen, man. I was the age of the young kids that loved John Cena.
Okay.
I remember arguing with my brothers all the time because they were, by the time I was like a full like John Cena, wearing the T-shirt, dressing up like him, my brothers are already old enough to kind of like the bad guys, and I just couldn't when I was a kid. Like, to me, everything was 100% real, and I was like, why are you cheering for Randy Orton? He just like kicked a woman in the head.
You don't get it.
Insane.
That was an era. That was a time.
I think wrestling right now is in kind of this new revolution, like renaissance period, and it's been really fantastic to watch, especially from now, getting to be, like I said, a little more behind the curtain or rub shoulders with a lot of really cool people. So I think with the John Cena thing, I think it's important to the future of wrestling, where I can view it a lot of ways, where typically there's a part of me that wants to say like, well, it's John Cena's like last year. He should kind of still be like John Cena because, all these people, it's like one last time to see. Yeah, for the nostalgia. But then also, as you can see from a lot of things.
Who wants that what if?
Exactly, yeah. One, the what if, but two, when people rely on nostalgia too much or what's worked in the past, it ends up running its course. And I don't think his run would have run its course or people would have got sick of it, but they have a chance to do something really fresh here. They have a chance to do something once in a generation. And when they do this, obviously Cody Rhodes is like the top guy right now, and Roman Reigns and whoever else is going to rub shoulders with him throughout this run. It's so important to give back to where you're going to go from wrestling. So John Cena, obviously he's phasing himself out right now, and he's going to make sure that the next people to carry that torch for the next 5-10 years, they're going to set him up. And it's just going to be, and that's just how wrestling is, when it's my time, I hope someone is kind enough to work with me, give me the knowledge, and be like, run with the ball.
Give him his,
and then when it's my time, I give the ball, and that's just the cycle of it.
Give him his Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, legit. Yeah.
Give him
Sorry, I love you.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I synced that the other day. Not even the other day. That's probably a couple weeks ago. And I was just like, yo, this is crazy. He's talking like that, and he's still got the jean shorts on.
Yeah.
He's not changing up.
Which, again, another thing, they just subvert your expectations. Because he said, everyone's like, what are you going to wear? What's the new music? He's like, no, you don't get that. Because I'm John Cena, I'm me, and now I'm finally going to, talk my shit a bit. You've been booing me for like 20 years. Don't act like you love me all the time now,
That was definitely a hell of a promo to cut by him. But to get back to you, and specifically you, Dante Griffith, the Exile.
Yes, sir.
We spoke about kind of the ideation. We spoke about, how you relate to others in the ring. The training that goes into that. But where does that come from specifically, and what does that mean to you? Why do you want to wave that flag and wear that branded across your chest? Can you speak to that?
I think it just comes from just who I am and the journey of my life that I've gotten to at this point, where I've kind of had like a few different lives where, it was like the theater stuff, and then I was doing this whole other thing, and then a little bit of music, and then the cruise line. Like, I was kind of going around and like almost like having to restart, not my life, but just all these like fresh starts.
For sure.
Where they kind of started like, I wouldn't say blending together, but I just felt like there was never a moment where I felt like, I don't want to say at home, but like truly here, you know what I mean?
No, for sure.
So when I finally found wrestling, or rather doing wrestling, it was like a very freeing moment for me. So like the Exile, the way I view it, is just someone that has kind of been walking their own path for so long, going from thing to thing, and then finally finding this and being like, I'm gonna cement myself here. This is my end point. So the Exile to me is just a nomad that is finally gonna stake claim and make his own house.
Yo, that's hard. That's hard.
Bars.
You get your bars for sure, man. That's deep. And that's like, I love when performers, whether they're wrestlers, actors, the things that they take on. It's not only just a role; it's something that relates to their real life. Because it's like you have really live with your
and that always happens with wrestlers too. It's the same with music. People love their characters, but when you bring yourself out, you either have to essentially commit to 1000% you and just present this exaggerated version of yourself, or you have to present this very exaggerated character.
No,
so
sure.
Are you going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, or are you going to be The Undertaker?
Right.
So either just, here's me times 1,000, or here's this like very intricate character that I've really spent time on and cooked with, and just here you go. And then, you know, obviously the audience decides if they want to cheer or boo.
Yeah,
they'll let you know.
It's up to the kids.
Always
the kids.
Yeah.
To bring it full circle now, because like we said in the beginning, we met at a music concert, at a Kevin Abstract concert on the line. Steven finessed me out the spot.
Thank God.
For sure. But typically on this show, I have like artists, music guests, and you're a man to taste yourself. We had a whole conversation while we were on that line. We was going through artist to artist. Y'all like, have you heard this? Have you heard this? Oh, you like
back
that?
and forth.
Cool. So, who would you say are top 3 people you're listening to right now, regardless of genre? Yeah, period.
So I'll throw a curveball in there.
Okay.
But
sure.
to start, I want to say, like, at least in terms of also, I pull a lot of for the wrestling. Tyler and Kendrick have specifically, I love how their eras are so distinct. And if I say to you, like, oh, Chromacopia, or I say, oh, Flower Boy, or I say Cherry Bomb, you have a strong visual and a strong sound in your mind.
They wore certain stuff. They
define their stuff, like, you know, so whenever, like, I go out there, right now this era is the Exile Dante Griffith. My style is my style. I wear this black, pink, and silver. I got this long cowl. I have these red glasses. But when the time comes, you know, I gotta transition to the next album.
Right.
and always, the thing I love about them is they always present something new when they come back, you know? Like, they don't drop music just to drop music. It's not like, okay, it's been a year, it's been 2 years.
They're giving you an era, a story.
Yeah, they have something to say, or they have something to present, an idea, a visual, something so strong that they just had to get out there, and I really appreciate that. So I've been playing them a lot. And then the curveball. Listen, man, K-pop.
Blackpink, you on the Blackpink?
Blackpink's cool.
Okay.
But there's this smaller group called Luna, right? And they kind of broke up now. Okay. But I went to one of their concerts. They have they kind of have subgroups, kind of. So, you know, Wu-Tang, Jizza, type thing. So they have a group called Odd Eye Circle. Okay. And it's just 3 of them, right? But I'll never forget, and it's something like clicked in my brain here for the wrestling stuff, where the concert started, and their fans are crazy. They're wrestling fans for music, I'm not gonna lie. They're rabid. But the concert started, right? And they play this video, everyone's losing their mind, they show the girls and stuff, and then they flash a color. It was just blue, and everyone lost their mind because they knew, like, what girl was gonna come out. And I was like, oh, you really have to correlate, like, every little thing about your presentation and then think about how people are gonna react to it. So when they just flash a simple color, they lose their mind because they know what's coming up, you know what I mean? And also their music is just, dude, all slaps. That's all slaps.
Luna, Luna?
Loona.
I've seen them before.
Yeah.
I feel like they've won like a Grammy or something. Luna.
Hey, I have no idea. All I know is the music is crazy. They got all this like dream pop and all this like.
Now I'm a fan of a lot of Korean, Japanese, and just Asian artists. Period. Because I don't know if you ever heard of people like Toa Tay or like. Yo, I be bumping that because I'm really into like trip hop. Electronic music, so I definitely get into that bag sometimes. But to pretty much wrap up our conversation for today, thank you for those of y'all who are still watching right now.
Appreciate y'all.
I want to get into the time capsule talk. Now, this is a lightning round of questions I shoot off at my guests, you know what I'm saying, just to see where they are right now, how they feel about things in the state of the world, and just, you know, just who they are in this moment in time. So maybe 20 years from now, you'll be like, yo, I have a different opinion.
Oh, I definitely will. If you don't change your mind every 5 years, something's wrong with you.
No, for sure. That's a gem, y'all. It's a gem. All right, so we're going to start off easy, and we're going to end off kind of deep.
Yeah, sure. Let's get it.
Okay, so to begin, if you could live anywhere in the world, profession, money, or any other circumstances not being a factor, where would you live and why?
It's always New York and Tokyo, Japan.
Okay.
And LA to an extent.
For Jersey though, what?
Hey man, I got out.
I
got out, Jersey. I gotta survive that. I gotta escape that Sopranos lifestyle.
Okay, for sure.
Nah, I mean New York, man. I just love New York. When I was a kid, I always dreamed about coming here and living here. You know, it's been about 8 years now, 10 years about, and it's always the best. Whenever you need a pizza, it's right there. Whenever you need a show, you need entertainment, it's right there. Everything.
Never sleeps.
And then I haven't been to Japan yet, but my real like wrestling style that I love is Japan, the Japanese style, and that's always been the goal since day one. Get to Japan, wrestle in Japan, and I love their culture and how they treat the sport out there. So it's definitely up there.
Next one would be, who's a historical figure that you identify with? So, like, if you were someone else in history in a past life, who would you have been?
Oh, that's tough.
Don't think too hard.
I used to be a real history guy too, so it's killing me. I'm trying to think. Oh, I'm forgetting his name. It's actually a crazy answer too, but I can't remember. I think his name was John Brown. Abolitionist. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
Bro, this man, I personally, I think about it a lot because like where I'm from in Jersey, it's a mixed bag of ideologies and political views.
No, for sure.
So
it's a little New York.
So a little bit, yeah. So I always, even when I was young, I always used to be like, why is all this like messed up stuff happening? And then someone would try to explain to me, and I'd be like, I don't like that. Like they would be like, well, you see politics. I'm like, nah. People are just assholes.
Yeah.
So he was this guy that like legit just took over an entire town and was like, fuck slavery, and killed a lot of slave owners, and was like, listen, man, sometimes history, you gotta kind of take matters into your own hands and do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? I don't know why he's the first one that popped up in my brain. I guess going against the the core or the standard.
Nah. My audience, we definitely fighting the power. For sure. My next question would have to be favorite meal or just like last meal of choice. Like
last meal ever?
Yeah, like. You know what I'm saying? So
I'll tell you,
chicken and protein.
Yeah, I'll tell you what my cheat is, man. The thing that's been probably preventing me from gaining so much muscle. I do my best, but milkshakes, bro. I love milk. I know it's not a meal.
Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry?
Anything.
Milkshake period, okay.
And like, especially, like, I don't know if you've ever been to like any of the exotic kind of places. They'll be like, you'll just go somewhere and you're just expecting a normal meal, and all you see like, is that a fruity pebble milkshake? Like, what does that taste like?
I gotta see what that's about.
Try. In-N-Out on the West Coast too was like, a lot of people be like, oh, it's not that good. It is. People be lying. But there, anything like that junk food is sadly like probably gonna be the last meal. But I think I'll earn it at that point. I watch myself, I try not to dip too into it, but when the time comes and I get to chill
80,
out,
I'm having that milk.
Yeah, I'm like, come on now, I've earned this. I'm moonsaulted off a cage. Like.
I need this. Okay, now this is gonna be a curveball for you. This might get you in trouble. Most romantic thing you've ever done?
Let me think.
You don't gotta say it on camera. I know this might get you in trouble, brother.
Yeah, I try to keep all that under wraps typically too. Honestly, and this is gonna sound crazy, and it's probably not the most romantic thing I've done, but I know a lot of people will be like, there's no way, because like wrestling was like my first love, so it's hard for me sometimes, like where that's always been the thing. Sometimes my priorities I gotta reassess, but WrestleMania last year was super lit. I promise I'm going somewhere with
No. I'm waiting. It's like the way I flipped off. I was so sweet and romantic.
But WrestleMania was, it was a really big thing. Everyone was really looking forward to it. And I was actually reconnecting with an old friend.
For sure.
And, we were just like, nothing crazy. We were just like talking to each other again. Or it's been like a long time, and we were just like meeting up as friends again. And there was I felt a little something. And she was like gonna be so busy. She had all this crazy schedule. And then night one of WrestleMania was the only night she was free. I know this sounds crazy. But she was like, oh, we don't have to. I was like, I can do it, I promise. I was like, it's okay. It'll be there the next day. I'll avoid the spoilers. Like,
you at the dinner thinking about apologizing. That's crazy.
That is like, and I always used to say, my friends used to be always joking with me, because I was always joking with them when you fantasize about the future. Like, oh, when we're on the road, and they're like, I'm very like, I'm a introverted extrovert.
Okay.
Where I love talking to people, I love like doing things, but then also I love just going home and chilling and relaxing, watching stuff.
Simple guy.
Yeah, so they were always saying like, yeah, well, we gotta be ready to be out in the clubs and the bars. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be in my room watching some old G1 Climax tournament match from like 1999. Like,
I'm on a mission.
So yeah. So like, I remember I always tell that to her too, where she's like, I'll be like, hey, I miss WrestleMania for you.
He's like, girl, you don't know how much.
I take this very serious, Which I know that's probably a whack answer.
No.
First thing that came to mind.
I feel like anyone would have to respect that. It's like they know the life you live and how much you give yourself to this art form. It's like, definitely that's a big thing.
Obviously not the biggest sacrifice I've ever made, but it's definitely, it's up there.
It's up there, for sure. The last question. This sometimes it might stump my guests, but other times people are straight dead on with it. This is the final question. Loyalty or respect?
Hustle. Loyalty or respect is tough, man. I feel like I'm gonna go with respect, because loyalty can come at a fault.
For sure.
I feel like times you gotta know when it's to leave the nest, For instance, for me, I absolutely love House of Glory. It's where I really found myself. I found friends for life. I found wrestlers for life, and just so much passion was bred from that place. But I looked at myself about the start of last year, and I was like, okay, I feel like I'm decent. I'm focusing on these basics a lot. I'm trying to tap in a little more of myself, but I felt something was missing, and luckily that opportunity in LA with the New Japan Dojo spurred, and talked about it with a couple guys from House of Glory, and we were like, all right, we're gonna get an Airbnb, we're gonna go out there. And I'm so grateful for them and for everyone out on the West Coast. I would shout them out, but there's so many people.
Right. Shout out to everybody who's over there.
And they're all so hardworking, and I needed that environment for the time I had it. Like I said, it was about half a year out there, to where now when I came back home, and I'm still gonna be bouncing between and figuring all that out, that loyalty didn't go away. It's still there, but it's grounded in respect. You know what I mean? So I think respect has to override a little bit, because sometimes loyalty can just be turned into kind of like a toxic thing. Where it's like, why are you leaving? Why are you doing this? And luckily, I'm from a place where they like to see you grow. They like to see you go out there. They like to see you advance yourself. So yeah, I'm gonna go with respect, but it's hustle.
The real answer hustle.
The real answer
but
hustle.
right now, respect. Okay, no, that was deep, bro. Like, nah. Respect is definitely necessary. It's a need.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in this business.
So to wrap up for today, could you just tell the people what to look forward to from you, where they can see you next, doing your thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, the Instagram is Dante Griffith _is_eternal. That might change. It's kind of long. Someone already took Dante Griffith forever ago. That's typically where I post most of my updates. The next
I'll drive them to give it up.
Next House of Glory show you can definitely tap into. It's going to be, we have one in Chicago. That's coming up in, I believe, about a week or two. You can check it out on Triller TV. We always stream them live, and then we'll be back in New York at the end of April. Other than that, I'm just going to be going around, popping my head into places, seeing if I can get on and start beating some people up. And then also, I just try to keep my content out there, which is always a little challenge, when you're trying to figure out what you want to present. I don't like putting forward anything that I don't fully approve of, you know what I mean? It's always got to fit the image and always got to make sense for me to post it at that time.
You're a brand now.
Yeah, exactly. Got to be.
Big money moves, you know what I'm saying? But definitely respect you, and thank you
so
for
much,
coming through. And,
hey, man, 2 years. 2 years I
owe
owe
you. 2 years, he made good on the promise. Maroon Radio, we official over here. This is good content, good interviews, good conversations, progressive conversations happening. Thank you so much, Dante Griffith.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Peace to y'all, and we're out.
Safety.